So this is who we've got here. We've got Alpha 54, Alpha Kep, we've got apparently Jack, AJ, Astral, Chronic, Dead Monster, Ixo, Exotic, Fairy Peak, First Killer, Flakes, Forky, J-Bot, Jarius, J Russ, we got Kinsey, Lion Blaze, Luis, Magic Bear, Mile, and Khaled, OSM, Revzy, and Scrub Killer, and Sharif, Wonder Mike, Samway. That's all the players who I think you guys wanted in here that are fair enough to include. So I'll reiterate, I'll just say one more time what's going to happen here. You can see on your screen that we've got Johnny. That's my top 10 space on the left there. We don't need that yet. I spelled left wrong. Wait, did I actually? I did. There we go. I think I got the rest of them right. You are voting for who you think is the best player on this list currently. So currently is the key. We're not doing an all-time GOAT list here. So I'm spamming the poll in chat. Vote right now for who you think the best player is on that list. Multiple answers is on because people are allowed to, if you can't choose, you can vote for more than one if you don't know which one you want to vote for. Okay, who are people gone for? Khaled looks like he's topping the list, followed by Fairy Peak, Jarius, and First Killer for the time being. Already well over 100 votes for Khaled. TOM, thanks for the 6-month tier 1, and also Rampage RL, thanks for the 45-month tier 1. That is insane. A Pinch Better, 91, thanks for the 2-month prime. And Soccer X C-Man, thanks for the 3-month prime. Welcome back to all of you guys. Chief Big Fella with a 4-month prime, welcome back. And also Fast Slayer Plays, thanks for the 420. Well, hopefully you've understood. You asked how do you enter. Hopefully you know now. Hopefully that made sense to you. And Offbeat, thanks 100 bits. Yeah, we did end up going for that. So I think that was long enough time for you guys to have voted for your best player. It looks like Khaled is going to be Twitch chat's best player. I'm going to test and see what happens when I click back 2 times here. Okay, it does actually save the poll, or it brings us back to the same poll creation. So first thing that I need to do is write in here that Khaled is your guys' number 1. Then I'm going to remove Khaled from the poll for this time, save that, and now we're going to create it again. So now I'm going to link a new poll in chat, and you guys have got to vote for the next best player. So basically do that again. Khaled isn't an option this time. So everybody who voted for Khaled, you've got to vote for someone else. How can Khaled be better than Jarius? Well, Twitch chat thinks so. You know, collectively, Twitch chat thinks so. I'll tell you guys in reverse order what my top 10 is after we're done here. We'll see how comparable it is to your guys. So Jarius is winning this one, followed by First Killer and Fairy Peak. Jarius is a fair bit in front, actually. So it looks like most of the people, or a lot of the people who voted for Khaled last time have switched their vote to Jarius this time, because I think First Killer and Fairy Peak were both ahead of Jarius in the last poll. So everybody who voted for them are still voting for them, but all the Khaled voters have switched over to Jarius, who's got a massive lead. I think that's enough of a lead that we can safely say that according to Twitch chat, Jarius is number 2 in the world currently. Now let's go back again. I'll make sure that, yep, Khaled is gone off this list. We're going to remove Jarius as well. He's gone. We're going to save that one. And then we're going to create a new poll. So same again, ladies and gentlemen. Vote for the best player on this list. Khaled and Jarius are both not options anymore. They are both not options anymore. They're gone. Oh my goodness. Literally everyone. Oh, look at that. The Twitch chat's never been like so consistent on this. First Killer and Fairy Peak are going head to head. We've got to leave this one for a while. Because that's really close. It's First Killer in the dark blue and Fairy Peak in the lighter blue. Really, really close here. Wow, what? And then everybody else way behind. That's pretty crazy. That's pretty crazy. I've never seen Twitch chat so agreed on. Well, agreed but also disagreed. That's mental. But you know what? It's getting pretty close now, but First Killer's been in front the whole time. It's actually just switched now. And it's switching back. I've noticed, guys, in the past that what tends to happen is that in a situation like this where the votes are really close, a lot of people who previously voted for First Killer go back and undo it and vote for Fairy Peak to switch it up. So what I'm going to do is give Twitch chat's third best to First Killer. Because I think a lot of people are now just going to go back and switch their vote. Or a lot of new people are going to vote Fairy just to make it closer, you know? That's what tends to happen. Is a lot of people are like, oh, it's really close, let's make it a draw, and then you're not really getting people voting with their head, they're just voting for the memes. Still though, I've got a good idea for the next one is going to be according to Twitch chat, so I'll get rid of First Killer here. I'll save that. And yeah, this should be quite an easy one. I think I already know who you guys are going to vote for here, so alright guys, have at it. The next vote, Khaled, Jorius, and First Killer are all confirmed for Twitch chat. Yeah, we already know what this one's gonna do. Oh my goodness. Fairy Peak just getting all the votes. So apparently Jack is the biggest segment besides that. Then we've got Scrub Killer, Flakes, Azrael, Lion Blaze. It's gonna be very interesting to see who gets the next one. It's pretty obvious that Twitch chat are giving this one to Fairy Peak. So we're going to fill that one in. That one is extremely apparent. Okay, let's go back. Very, very, very easy there for Fairy Peak to get top 4. Okay. Remove Fairy Peak, so we're on to 5th best player now. Let me copy paste that in Twitch chat. Again, guys, remember you have to vote every single round if you want to impact the outcome of Twitch chat's list here. Which, so far, I must say, looks pretty respectable. I think this is a respectable list. Okay. Is it loading? Oh! Okay, apparently Jack is in front with 60. Followed by Lion Blaze, Scrub Killer, Astral. Votes are still coming in pretty quick here. Yeah, apparently Jack is going to take number 5. According to Twitch chat. Do we have enough space for his name? Looks like we do. Apparently Jack. Let's go back and remove his name from here. We'll save that poll. Okay, so top 5, according to Twitch chat, locked in. It's, again, going to be a pretty close one, I think. For number 6. Right. Get voting, everybody. Number 6. Who's the 6th best player in the world currently? Let's see what you guys go for. Okay, Lion Blaze and Azrael look to be the two who are leading the charge here. Look like they are leading the way. Lion Blaze has been in front the whole time. Azrael's coming back now, though. That like I said, tends to happen. It does tend to happen in these situations. Now, Lion Blaze has been in front the whole time. We're gonna give it to Lion Blaze according to Twitch chat. Because if we wait a bit longer, it's just going to be a total tie as everybody just tries to make it a draw for the memes. So Lion Blaze gets number 6, according to Twitch chat. Let me just remove him and save that as a draft. Alright. Getting the next poll. There it is. It's in chat now. Click the poll. Vote for the 7th best player in the world currently. Who's it going to be? Bit of lag here on this. Okay, now Azrael seems to be quite far in front. Yeah, Azrael's way in front here. That's going to be a Twitch chat number 7 vote for Azrael. We can go back. There's no way anybody catches him here. Just not happening. Okay, so we're getting there. This is filling up pretty quick, actually. Next poll, number 8. Who is the 8th best player in the 1v1 world, according to Twitch chat? I must say, so far, you guys are picking a pretty good list. I'm not gonna lie. It's actually pretty good. Usually, there's just total memes everywhere. This isn't a leaderboard of top 1s players. It's just a popularity contest. I would disagree. I think this list is actually pretty decent. So Mile is winning the next one by quite far. Followed by Alpha, Scrub, Lethamir, Kinsey, Flakes, AJ, Magic Bear, and a whole lot of other people. Yeah, Mile is going to take the next one. The Twitch chat top 10 continues. Mile the third American player on here. Alright, let's go back. We'll remove Mile and do it 2 more times. This is interesting. I like this list actually so far. I like the list that you guys have got. But there you go. Straw poll is up again. Get voting. Okay, who are you going for this time? Alpha 54, Scrub Killer, Lethamyr, Kinsey. Alpha 54 actually a fair bit in front though. 1.5k viewers, only half voting. Nice view bots. Well, people don't really have much time, mate. Some people are mobile as well. I imagine it's quite hard to vote on mobile. Alright, Alpha 54 is going to take number 9. He is just too far ahead here. Way too far ahead. Alpha 54 is squeezing into the top 10. Who would have known? Foxpal, thanks for the 10-month prime, by the way. Really appreciate that, man. I still like this list. Oh, we don't even need to save this poll. This is the last poll. This is the last one we're going to need. Let me get it. So last poll of the night, guys. Give it a click in chat. Give it a vote. And let's see who Twitch chat have as the 10th highest rated player in the 1v1 world currently. Kinsey, Scrubkilla, Lethamyr. All picking up votes. So yeah, Kinsey's been in front the entire time. Looks like Leth is falling behind. Kinsey's extending his lead actually. This is getting more and more. Yeah, looks like Kinsey's going to get it. He's going to get that 10th spot. Yeah, that's definitely a big enough gap that we can lock it in. So just missing out were Scrubkill and Lethamyr. Looked like those two were the ones who are consistently getting the most votes. AJ, Flakes, Magic Bear, Forky even, Ixo as well. A lot of players picking up votes. A lot of players picking up quite a lot of votes. Very interesting. Very interesting. But pretty good list, I'm not going to lie. I said this before. I actually like this list from Twitch chat. Usually when we do this, when we do Twitch chat versus Johnny, top 10s, I'm just like looking at your guys' list and thinking, what on earth is going on here? It is just, you know, a lot of the time it is just a popularity contest. But this one, not so much. I think it's actually strangely familiar to my own list. I don't believe this. It is really quite similar to mine. But I'll reveal mine in reverse order, and I'll talk a bit about some of the picks as I go through. But my number 10 is actually not a player that you guys have on your list. So already we're going to get a little bit of variety. And that's because my number 10 is, unironically, Dead Dash Monster. Just sneaking in there. There is a lot of players who are on the cusp. But Dead Dash Monster, playing some great games in Salt Mine 2. I really rate his ability. Beating, apparently, Jack, beating Astral in qualifying, and beating Samway in the main event, who's another player who qualified directly to the event by beating, apparently, Jack. So, Samway was in great form for Salt Mine 2, and Dead Monster managed to beat him as well. That's a lot of big wins. The only guy that Dead Monster lost to in qualifying was Khaled. Qualifier 1, Khaled round 1, Dead Monster, second qualifier. Dead Monster just went on an absolute rampage. I'm gonna get the bracket up so I can just tell you guys exactly all the names of everybody he beat, not relying off the top of my head. So yeah, 3-0'd Ocelon, 3-1'd OSM, 3-2'd Resi, 3-1'd Astral, and 3-1'd apparently Jack. That is a monster of a run from Dead Dash Monster. And he beat Samway 3-2 in the main event. Like, those results are legit. He qualified second out of EU. Second player to confirm his qualification. And we all know, I mean, well, I think most of you guys will agree that EU is the more stacked region when it comes to 1v1 still, by a little bit. So I really rate Dead Monster's run. And the way that he did it was very impressive. If you guys watched his games, I'm sure you were impressed. I've got him sneaking into my top 10 for current 1v1. One Donut, thanks for the Prime sub. I really appreciate that. Welcome to the stream. Now let me try to remember, who did I have at number 9 again? I'm trying to recall my order here. Because if I remember correctly, most of my top 10 is actually the same players as you guys. In fact, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's mental. I'm just going to go ahead and say it, guys. 9 of the players that you guys put in your top 10 are in my top 10 as well. So you already know.
Everything you do for the community.
You can already see who the players are going to be that are going to be on my top 10. I don't know how this happened, but Twitch chat actually agrees. And not only with each other, but with me as well. I've never seen this much, like, it's like a conspiracy over here. But yeah, my next one, my number 9, oh my goodness, it's actually really, really similar to what you guys had. I had Kinsey at number 9. You guys had him at number 10. So very, very strange parity happening here. But yeah, Kinsey is another player who had very good results in Salt Mine 2. His only poor result, well, his only bad results recently was he lost 4-2 to J-Russ in Fusion, and he lost 3-0 to Mile in Salt Mine 2 main event. But he took First Killer to 5 games, he took AJ to 5 games, and he took Mile to 5 games in qualifying. So Kinsey didn't win a qualifier, but everybody that he lost to ended up winning the qualifier. So Kinsey lost to the qualifier 1, 2, and 3 winners in game 5s every time. Very, very close. And obviously he took First Killer to game 7 overtime. So I think Kinsey's losses actually tell us a lot about him. He really is very hard to beat. Only that one bad loss against Mile, but still one of the players to watch in NA recently. Very impressive stuff coming out from him, making top 4 in Salt Mine NA, and looking very good while doing it. Looking very smart while doing it. Both these guys, Dead Monster and Kinsey, play really, really smart games. I'm a big fan. Okay, on to numero 8. You know what? We're actually ridiculously similar again. Almost. We're almost bang on, in fact. But, well, actually, no, we're not exactly bang on. But my number 8 is Astral. You guys had him at number 7. This is mad. This is actually mad how similar these lists are. This is why I said I'm very impressed, and I like Twitch chat's list a lot. Because Astral is coming in as my number 8. He obviously won qualifier 4 for Salt Mine 2. Beat Jorias in the final. Now, the qualifier by that point was, well, both of the players in the final had already qualified, of course. Oh no, sorry, he beat Jorias in the semi-final. But he beat Revsy in the final. Beat Revsy every other time they played as well. Astral really just has his number, clearly. But still, that's an impressive run by Astral. Beat Rise, Ocelon along the way, and Revsy in the final. I think that's a really pretty sick run for him. And then made top 4 in the main event. He's definitely a player who deserves to be in a top 10, in my opinion. He got his revenge on Dead Monster as well. Astral lost to Dead Monster in qualifier 2 for Salt Mine 2. Beat him in the main event. So that's why I've got him ahead of Dead Monster, as well as ahead of Kinsey. It's a bit harder to weigh up the NA versus EU rankings, but for me, Kinsey and Dead Monster were kind of like this smart. They were just the smart players. I like the way they played, and I think they're just really tough players to beat. So I had them together. They look good when you put them together, in my opinion. Dubious Crane, thanks to the 11-month Prime, and also Bats on Twitch for the 14-month Prime. Welcome back to you. 403 Dan, thanks to the 4-month Tier 1. And you're welcome. Thanks to the kind words, man. Like to see some of these people in a series against Flakes. What, you're mad that Flakes didn't make top 10 or something? What's going on with that 50-bit cheer? I don't know what's up with that one. Alright, on to number 7. Now you guys, I swear, there's so much parity here. I've got Lion Blaze at number 7. You guys had him at number 6. I'm honestly so impressed with Twitch chat's list. Dead Monster was the only player that you guys were sleeping on. Dead Monster was the only one that you guys weren't even close to putting in your top 10. Everybody else, Alpha 54 was close to my top 10. Not gonna lie, very close. So that's not even a bad one in my opinion. But yeah, I've got Lion Blaze at 7. One of the most consistent players in NA, but he took a very one-sided loss to Mile in the Salt Mine 2 main event. Goes close to First Killer every time they play, but also loses every time they play, seemingly. And Lion Blaze also lost to Kinsey in qualifier 2 of the Salt Mine 2 NA. And yeah, he did beat Mile in qualifier 1, but yeah, obviously Mile got his revenge when it came to the main event. Yeah, Lion Blaze lost to AJ as well. You know, he's had a mixed bag of qualifier results, losing to First Killer, AJ, Kinsey, but still making the main event pretty easily because he consistently made deep runs. Loses to First Killer every time they play, but has a pretty good chance against everybody else. But yeah, you might already be able to guess who I've got at number 6 based on his defeat of Lion Blaze in dominant fashion, and that is Mile. And the reason that I've got him ahead of Lion Blaze, because Lion Blaze is definitely a more consistent player. He beat Mile in Fusion, he beat him in Salt Mine 2 qualifiers, but then he lost to in the main event in pretty dominant fashion. And it's because Mile just destroyed all the competition apart from First Killer that I've got him at number 6. He just breezed through everybody else that wasn't named First Killer. 3-0'd Kinsey, somebody who also beat Lion Blaze in qualifier. 4-1 Lion Blaze. Just insane performances by Mile. It really just showed that he was, I think, a step above everybody else in ones, just like First Killer kind of does. The only problem for Mile is that his playstyle just doesn't go up well against First Killer. Combine that with First Killer's experience, and yeah, you've got yourself the reasons why First Killer is able to win that matchup. Okay, let's take a look now. Man, that's crazy. So yeah, you guys can probably already guess if I've not put Jack, Fairy, First Killer, Jarius, Khaled on my list in the bottom half, that they're probably in the top half. And you're right, I do have all of those guys in the top half. I think that's accurate. However, we do have slightly different ordering of it all, and it starts off with Fairy Peak. Now, Fairy Peak, I'm not just locking in his rank. When he retires, he doesn't stay where he is, in my opinion. In my mind, he declines slowly. I've not deleted him entirely from my top 10, but I have taken him down a little bit because of his inactivity, and that is, I think, pretty fair. If we continue to see no more Fairy Peak in 1v1 competition, he won't stay at the top of a leaderboard in my top 10. He'll keep on dropping down and down and down. Same with any other player. It's the same in lots of other ranking systems in sports and other video games. Inactivity will cause a decay. So I know you guys are going to be mad about this because Fairy Peak just beat Khaled in Fusion Grand Finals, and it wasn't that long ago. It was only a month. But there's been so much 1v1 happening since then, and Fairy Peak was inactive for almost all of it. However, yeah, I do still have him ahead of the majority of the NA competition, the vast majority of the NA competition, because yeah, what Fairy Peak was able to achieve in Fusion, the level he was playing at, it was extremely impressive. Funnily enough, I've made comparisons. Mile and Fairy Peak actually attack very similarly, just a very relentless offense when they get going. The only difference for me between Mile and Fairy Peak is that Fairy Peak is he's a more adaptable player, and that's why I've got him ahead of Mile still, even though Mile just dominated any Salt Mine. I think that Mile could actually learn a lot from looking at Fairy Peak's playstyle, because although Fairy Peak plays with immense pressure on his opponent, lots of early challenges, and lots of ball pressure over boost, but playing with really good efficiency and just brutal amount of shots on target. Like, these are things Mile does well, but he doesn't. He's not able to adapt and to slow down and play the 50-50 game as well as Fairy. So that's why I've currently got Fairy edging him out. He's got the versatility, and I think a lot of the European players do have that versatility. Whereas NA is just like, okay, let's see who's got the better mechanics, and that's pretty much how you decide who wins a 1v1 match. But anyway, number 4 for me is apparently, I've just spelled that wrong, apparently Jack. So literally just switching 4 and 5 from you guys. Not sure what happened to the K on my keyboard. Actually, I have written in apparently Jack there. It just didn't appear on OBS. That's really weird. Anyway, I've got them switched. Because apparently Jack obviously made Salt Mine 2 top 4, and he made top 4 in Fusion, beat Jarius in Fusion, he beat Jarius in Fusion qualifiers, He did obviously lose 2 qualifiers in Salt Mine 2 to Samway and to Dead Monster. But when it got to the main event, he delivered the goods and he went to Game 7 with Khaled. I think Jack recently he's kind of like the Lion Blaze of EU in terms of consistency, but he also has a big win over the toughest competition. And I think EU being the stronger region, that makes it, to me, a more impressive achievement. So apparently Jack just edging out Fairy Peak. Had this been a post-fusion 1v1 list, I would have had Fairy Peak above him. Without any question. I would have had Fairy above apparently Jack. And I would have also had Fairy above my number 3, who is First Killer. So I think this is the first one that we actually just totally agree on. Yeah, this is the first name that we absolutely agree on to the T. I have also got First Killer top 3. Now, like I said before, if this was a 1v1, like current best in the world 1v1 list after Fusion, I would have had Fairy Peak above both apparently Jack and First Killer. And I would have actually had Fairy Peak above my number. I would have had Fairy Peak at number 2. Actually, yeah, I would have had Fairy Peak at number 2 right after Fusion. Just behind Khaled, because obviously Fairy beat Khaled, but Khaled didn't lose to anybody else. Fairy did. So yeah, I do have First Killer and apparently Jack now ahead of Fairy Peak, so it's very close, and I think Fairy Peak's activity and First Killer and Jack's recent success is enough for me to have them leapfrog him. But yeah, no one else though. You know, there was too big of a gap between Fairy Peak and say a Lion Blaze or a Mile or an Azrael or a Kinsey for them to overtake him, even with their recent success. But okay, it's time for the obvious top 2. I think it's just too, well, first of all, I should probably talk about why, First Killer, who won both Fusion and Salt Mine 2 in North America, isn't in the top 2 when we have Khaled coming second in both Fusion EU and Salt Mine EU, and Joria's getting round 1 in Fusion main event, well, quarterfinals, I suppose, and winning Salt Mine 2. So why when First Killer's had the more consistently high placing results do I have him lower? And it's based on his history between the two regions. It's a long time ago now, but the last time I did see First Killer play against EU players, he did struggle, and I think he's grown a lot as a player since then. I think he's improved a lot as a player since then. But I think he needs to prove it. He needs to actually get some results, which is a tough ask in the current climate. There's no lands where we can sit players down at. Get some NA versus EU action on the go. But yeah, until I see it, I can't put First Killer in the top 2. Just looking at the games as well. I'm not just looking at the results. I'm also looking at the games. That's why I've got Dead Monster in my top 10. That's why I've got Mile just inching ahead of Lion Blaze. For me, it's about how the games actually went, how the players are playing, who do I think will win. And, I don't always get it right, but I do often get it right because I've watched a few 1v1s in my time. But that means it's time to reveal who do I have currently at number 2 and at number 1. And it's a really difficult decision. It's a very difficult decision. If it was entirely down to results, then Khaled would be number 1 without a question. Second place in Salt Mine 2, second place in Fusion. Joria's got reverse swept in Fusion and took first in Salt Mine 2. Overall, Khaled has better results. He qualified first try to Salt Mine 2. No losses. Joria's lost to Khaled in Q1, lost to Azrael in Q4. If we're looking at purely results, Khaled wins. But I'm not only looking at results. Like I said, I'm looking at the games themselves and the way that Joria's bounced back and took the win in that grand final, kind of proving that he's not just going to choke under pressure every time, and also just ran through the competition in EU similarly to how Mile did in NA. That's why I've got Mile above Lion Blaze and Kinsey. Not based on consistency, it's based on the way that he just destroyed that whole bracket in Salt Mine 2, the most recent 1v1 event, the biggest 1v1 event of all time, and the pure 1v1 event, not a part 1v1 event like Fusion. So it does weigh more in my opinion. That's why I've got Khaled number 2. And by a fraction, by a hair, I right now have Joreuz at number 1. So I really like Twitch Chat's list. I do. I think you can make a great case for it. I think you can make an excellent case for Khaled being number 1 and Joreuz being number 2. But in my head, when I see the way that Joreuz went through that bracket, just dismantling everybody whose name isn't Khaled, and then not choking in the final as well, that's why I've got him ahead of Khaled. Same reason I've got Mile ahead of Lion Blaze. You know, Lion Blaze has the consistent results, but Mile popped off, and I think that you have to take that into consideration as well. But both of them are top 2 by a fair margin. It was never gonna. I'm sorry for First Killer, but I can't put him in. He can't separate them. He's not close in my mind. He's close skill wise, but it wasn't a difficult decision to pick Joreuz Khaled as top 2. Is what I'm saying. This is like a very obvious choice for me. And I think you guys were as well. It was quite... actually, you guys had Khaled winning by quite a while. By quite a long way. But it is very close, you know? If Joreuz had ran into Jack in Salt Mine 2, we would have had a different world. Maybe Jack would eliminate Joreuz, so Khaled doesn't have to. Then Khaled would be on top. Because it could be a rock, paper, scissors there. Maybe. I don't think it is. You know, the way that Joreuz is able to elevate his game. You know, Mile and Joreuz, they're the players who really, really stepped it up until the grand final for Mile, obviously, where he just wasn't a good match stylistically against First Killer. Those guys just rampage through the bracket. And yeah, you have to take note of that. But yeah, we're only 1 away on Joreuz Khaled. We're 1 away on apparently Jack. I literally just flipped apparently Jack Fairy Peak, flipped Khaled Joreuz. You can make great arguments for either one of those orders. I like them both. And then you guys had Mile a bit lower. You liked Astro, Lion Blaze, and Mile. I liked Mile a bit more, just because he did qualify directly and just step it up, you know. And I'm talking current ability. Current ability is going to be heavily based on who won the last tournament, obviously. Like, who just won is a big deal. If it was post-fusion, I would have had Khaled number 1, probably, and Fairy Peak number 2, just because Fairy Peak did get some help from Alpha to make it into that grand final in the first place. So it wasn't an entirely Fairy Peak effort to win that tournament. However, still, I don't want to take anything away from that result. I would have had Fairy Peak number 2, probably First Killer number 3, Joreuz number 4 at that point. Maybe even Jack. The top 5 hasn't changed since Fusion. It's been the same top 5, I think, for me. The only other player who you could consider putting in would be Alpha 54, because he beat Jack in their mini series that they played in the Vitality versus Stormtroopers series. But yeah, mostly the same. Alpha 54 for me was just outside top 10, just outside. He was definitely one of my next players, 11, 12. I could see that. Yeah, maybe even 11. Hard to say though, because we don't have a lot of games from him recently, so it's very, very hard to place him. I'd rather put people in who I do have a lot of games on recently, a lot of games seen. Tug, thanks to the 3-month tier 1, really appreciate it, man. And also Cooperlicious to the 2-month prime, welcome back. Really appreciate the support from all you guys. This has got to be though the closest that Twitch Chat and me have ever been to having the same lists. Really, really close. Very, very close, which is mental. Absolutely mental. Honorable mentions. Well, you have to give an honorable mention to Magic Bear. Struggled did struggle in qualifying for Salt Mine 2, but he was a beast in Fusion, and just fell off a bit recently. That's why I couldn't put him in the top 10. You've got to give an honorable mention, like I said, to Alpha, because he did, of course, beat Jack in their mini series that they played. Beat Scrub in qualifying for in Q1 for Fusion, for Salt Mine 2. But yeah, for me, these guys are the top 10. We actually had 9 players the same, and just you guys are. I think you're sleeping on Dead Dash Monster. His recent results are so huge, ridiculous win percentage, ridiculous. Leth is destroying Mile in private match scrims. Unfortunately, private match scrims don't matter in the context of what we're doing here. But yeah, I'm sure if Lethamir actually was active, he could be in a top 10. He could easily be a top 10 player, I think. It is possible. But yeah, what do you guys well, usually I'll say who do you guys think I overrated the most, but I guess you're all gonna say Mile or Dead Monster. Usually I'll ask who do you guys think I underrated the most. Hardly anybody. Our lists are so similar, there's really not much for me to ask you guys. Not much to ask. TRK's only ranked ladder, you would love to see him play. Well, you can see him play somewhere else, I'm sure, but it won't be on my channel. Opinion of Fairy stayed grinding ones. I mean, if Fairy made a good run in Salt Mine too, if he made the main event, he'd very likely... Yeah, it would be hard to put First Killer ahead of Fairy if Fairy made a good run in Salt Mine 2. I'm sleeping on Lion Blaze. He loses to First Killer every time, so you can't put him ahead of First Killer. You can't put him ahead of apparently Jack or Fairy, based on, like, apparently Jack's had the same level of consistency as Lion Blaze, except in a tougher region, and he's had some bigger wins, like reverse sweeping Joria's, namely. Yeah, I can't put him ahead of Fairy Peak yet. And then, you know, you guys, you had Lion Blaze ahead of Mile based on consistency. Cal had Joria's based on consistency. I wanted to, you know, reward the pop-offs. You know, if somebody gets a 3-0 destructive win against an opponent in a big tournament, that is a bigger difference to me than somebody winning 3-2. You know, winning 3-2 is good. You know, you're gonna be positive in my mind if you do that. If you go 3-0 and just smash someone, you're way better in my opinion. Yeah, that's what Joria's did. That's what Mile did in SM2. They were just destroying people. Absolutely destroying. Astral's too high, way too inconsistent. Well, he got revenge on Dead Dash Monster. He beat Joria's in Qualifier 4 for the main event. I know they'd both already qualified, but he still beat him. Beat Revsy 3 times throughout all of Salt Mine 2. He's got some good results to him. He lost to Tho, obviously, in Q1, which isn't the best result for Astral. But he managed to get the job done. He needed a big performance in Qualifier 4, and he got one. Astral wasn't going to make it in if he didn't get a good run in that 4th qualifier. And he beat Rise, reverse swept Ocelon, swept Joria's, and then took down Revsy in 5 games. Yeah, before that, I don't think Astral had made it that far. Yeah, he got beaten by Tho in Qualifier 1. And then in Qualifier 2, he lost to Dead Dash Monster, but he got his revenge on that. So yeah, I think Astral's recent results are okay. He lost to Ixo in Fusion, but he also beat Ixo in Fusion Quals. Yeah, I think it's fair enough. Fair enough. You guys had him pretty close to me. Can we get EU Champ versus NA Champ show match? I mean, I would love to. I would love to. If Joria's and First Killer want to play a series, I would love to host that. But yeah, it won't be... it won't be like an official World Champion series, because I know that playing cross-server right now is very difficult. But if they want to, then I would gladly host it. But yeah, it will just be a show match. We're not going to call it the Salt Mine World Final. Yeah, I know you guys would all want to see it. We'd have to figure out like a way to make it as fair as possible, ping-wise.